Hosted by you/ownway8855. Please bear with me, this is going to be a long one. My fiancé, 26M, and I, 24F, have been dating for 4 years and engaged for 5 months. For some context about my fiancé, he is an outstanding partner. He is so kind and gentle, always ensures I feel secure in our relationship, and treats me like a complete queen. I have had an extremely traumatic childhood, especially during my high school years and in past relationships, which he knows all about. He has supported me constantly and always done things to prove to me during difficult times that I am safe and that he is always there for me. With all of that aside, the only thing that bothers me a little about my fiancé is that his mother and he have what I call an extreme relationship. What I mean by this is they are very close, as it has been only the two of them since he was 8 years old. I have always been so nice to her and have done a lot during our whole relationship to spend time with her, help her with anything she needs, and try to become close with her. But unfortunately, no matter what I do, she always expresses that she hates me and doesn't believe I will ever be good enough for her son. My fiancé has stood up for me on many occasions, but he isn't very stern or completely on my side. He just tells his mother to stop or to not fight today, which makes me feel like he is dismissing it. This has been going on for our entire relationship. However, one time my fiancé really snapped at her and finally stood up for me, which made her stop temporarily as he threatened that she would lose him if she didn't make things right. Before this happened, I had learned to put up with it because I love my fiancé and truly believe he is the one for me. But ever since he proposed to me 5 months ago, his mother has gotten aggressively worse. She texts me horrible messages, leaves me voicemails, gets her friends to harass me, and is terrible to me in person, but only when my fiancé is not around. She has resorted to being nasty only behind his back because of what he said when he stood up to her. 3 days ago, I called off the engagement and broke things off with my fiancé without telling him what his mother had been doing. I was scared to tell him because I know he loves her, and I didn't want to come in between them again, especially when he has been so happy that we are finally getting along because his mother fakes being friendly and loving in front of him. He was understandably devastated, and so am I. His best friend, other close friends, his sister, my family, and my friends have been calling me nonstop for the past 3 days, calling me a jerk for leaving my fiancé and breaking his heart for no reason. My fiancé has also been calling and texting, begging me to talk. His mother sent me one text that, to sum it up, said, "I'm glad you are gone. If I had known treating you like this would have made you leave my son sooner, then I would have been this nasty from the start. My son will realize you are just a SLT and move on easily." I ended up telling my older brother why I ended things, as well as my fiancé's best friend since he and I are fairly close too. They both understand where I am coming from but told me I need to tell my fiancé because he will handle his mother and has been a wreck without me, as I have been without him too. They also said that I need to stand up to his mother myself. So here's where I feel guilty and think I may be the jerk. I finally called my fiancé and asked him to meet up. On my way to meet him, I texted his mother a long paragraph, calling her a vile, disgusting woman and going off on her about all the stuff she has done. When I reached my fiancé, he looked incredibly angry. Apparently, his mom immediately called him crying, saying that I texted her threatening to beat her up and called her horrible names for simply checking on me. That obviously wasn't the case. Once I told my fiancé what really happened and showed him all the proof of what I said and what she had been doing for 5 months, he broke down crying, and so did I. We both consoled each other, and he profusely apologized for his mother's behavior. He blew up on his mother and immediately went no contact with her. He also uninvited her from our wedding. My family, my friends, and his aunt, his mother's sister, were all happy we are back together and proud of my fiancé for standing up to his mom and cutting her out of his life. But all his other family members and his mother's friends have been berating me, calling me the jerk for destroying the relationship between him and his mother. I can also see that my fiancé is absolutely crushed by this. So, I'm regretting leaving and wish that I had just continued to put up with it like I had before. That way, none of this would have happened. Update 1 month later. Hello, everyone, I apologize for this long-awaited update. I wanted to make sure that my fiancé and I had thoroughly worked through everything before providing an update and ensured that everything was resolved, understood, and cared for on both our parts. To start, I would like to thank everyone for your comments, whether they were positive or negative. All of them truly helped open my eyes to things I hadn't fully understood myself during this time. Now, onto the update. My fiancé and I had extremely long and numerous discussions during this period, where we shared our thoughts and feelings. To begin with, I explained to him that, in hindsight, I realized how wrong it was to jump the gun and end things when I could have talked to him about what was happening. I admitted that I was afraid this would become a never-ending cycle with his mother, and I wasn't sure if I could handle that for the rest of my life, as it would surely make me miserable. However, I apologized profusely for not coming to him, showing him what his mother had been doing behind his back, and blindsiding him by breaking things off. I also explained that a part of me didn't want to tell him because, although he had stood up for me in the past, there were times when he brushed off much of what his mother did, which hurt me deeply. I shared with him my concerns about the future, that I feared a future with him, his mother, and me would be full of anger, hate, and negativity. I asked him, if she could do these things to me before we were even married, what would happen once we were married or when we had children in the future? I told him I didn't want that for myself, for him, or for any children we might have. My fiancé explained to me that he realized he hadn't been fully standing up for me or setting firm boundaries with his mother, and he now understands how that must have made me feel. He said he deeply regrets not being the man he wanted to be for me, especially as we were building a future together. He told me it was completely unfair of me to handle things the way I did and that it hurt him deeply when I left without letting him know so that he could help address the issues. However, he also said he now understands why I felt like I couldn't come to him or why I didn't want to, as he had been blinded by the love he has for his mother. We have both started individual and couples therapy to work through unresolved issues, including those related to this situation. His individual therapy has largely focused on his relationship with his mother, while mine has focused on trust and communication issues. We are working extremely hard to address these challenges because we love each other dearly and couldn't imagine our lives without one another. As for his mother, my fiancé and I have blocked her and anyone who sided with her immediately. We have surrounded ourselves with people who support and love us, and who see the wrong in what she was doing. She reached out to both of us to apologize and asked to talk. We agreed to meet her at a local cafe to see if anything could be salvaged or if she was truly sorry. To say this was a mistake would be an understatement. However, I think it opened my fiancé's eyes to just how mean and cruel she can be. I also showed him the messages, voicemails, and texts from her friends, which I should have done initially. This was the final straw for him. I know it was extremely difficult for him because he has always seen her as the loving, gentle, hardworking single mom she was for most of his life. I do hope she realizes her mistakes and seeks therapy herself to get the help she needs. Despite everything she has done and how she has treated me, I don't wish any ill upon her. To answer a question I saw in the comments, someone asked how he has a sister if it was just him and his mom. My apologies for the confusion. I believe I replied to that comment, but to clarify, his mom is dating the father of his childhood best friend, and they are planning to get married as well. Even before this, he has always referred to her as his sister, and she has always called him her brother. I'm so used to calling her that, so I'm sorry for any misunderstanding. Anyways, thank you again to everyone. My fiancé also sends his thanks and appreciation to all of you in the comments. We are grateful for your kindness, patience, and support as you followed along with us through this crazy situation.